Hey, yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to another video. We got a lot of news. Stock market's going to move insane and it already moved insane with some data that came out that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. But with that being said, we are red in a lot of stocks, but we are kind of making a little bit of a comeback and you might see it back later. We're almost down. We're down almost 1% on the SPY. But if we go back to the weekly, just like the wrong thing. But if we go back to the weekly, we are kind of making a little bit of a comeback, but we are anticipating a lot of news with trade tariffs and stuff like that. We did get some relief with automotive tariffs, everything like that. But some data did come out. So the Q1 2025 GDP growth comes in at a negative 0.3% below the expectations of positive plus 3%. So it is the lowest and the first negative GDP reading since Q2 2022. So that it was insane and we did fall a decent amount pre-market, right? We went from like, let's say 551 to 553 all the way down to 546 and then all the way down again to 542. But we did make a little bit of a rebound. I did buy myself a little call option and I did have a put option. And we're coming out with a video very, very soon. We're going to be trading with $100, making it to $1,000 and $1,000, maybe to like 5,000 and or 10,000, and then 10,000 to maybe 50 or 20. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to I'm still in the works with it. But honestly, I just want to trade like that to show you guys as possible, but also have like a YOLO account. But before we get into some news, some stocks to look at. So first off, we're going to be talking about Reddit, RDDT. Reddit, why? Because it is highly volatile. I'm just showing you guys very volatile stocks to look at, especially right now. It did go down a decent amount and then rebound a decent amount too. So keep Reddit on your mind. Next one we're going to be talking about is TerraWolf, ticker symbol WULF. And this one's pretty volatile, and you do have options to trade. And I mean, it's kind of a penny stock, but it's just been moving a decent amount recently. Another one is Applied. I'm not even going to try that, but Optio Electronics, AAOI, and another volatile stock to look at. Another one is Black Sky Technology, BKSY, another volatile stock trading at $8, and you have options to trade. And the next one, of course, Tesla. It's just a very volatile stock. We're moving up, down, up, down. People are still talking about that $300 level is kind of coming back, but honestly, man, how it's been looking recently, my charts won't load, but it doesn't really look like it's coming back quite yet. But you never know. We might still be able to test that 300. But we're going to be talking about some more levels on Tesla a little bit later. SPY, NVIDIA, stuff like that. I do want to get into some news first. So let's start off with the earnings calendar. We don't have anything major before open unless you guys are interested in any of these companies. But after close, we got some major companies. So if you guys are in anything with SPY overall and Microsoft and Meta, these are going to move the SPY overall, especially if they go up and especially if they go down. So keep that in mind. But we got Microsoft, Meta, Robinhood, Qualcomm, and some decent other stocks. But tomorrow we have McDonald's, CVS, Roblox, and healthcare, MasterCard. So keep these on your mind before open on Thursday. And then after close, we got two other big SPY, S&P 500 basically stocks, Amazon and Apple. Okay, understand that Apple is like what 6% of the SPY overall. So keep that in mind. But Amazon, Apple, Reddit, Airbnb, these are some decent ones. Roku. I personally have some Airbnb in my long term. Not Reddit quite yet, but maybe if it gets to a decent level. But these are some decent ones to look at. So keep that in mind for the calendar. And let's get to the stock calendar. So today we did get the ADP, GDP. We got the numbers right here. Didn't really look so good with the ADP or GDP. So keep that in mind because it's what brought down the market at 8:30 basically and just had a bigger sell off. But so for tomorrow, we got initial jobless claims. So keep 225,000 on your radar or on your mind basically when it comes out. And S&P final PMI, ISM, construction spending, and auto sales. So honestly, man, I think the jobless claims is probably gonna be big. So yeah, man, basically just keep that on your mind. So let's get to some news. So consumer confidence plunges for the fifth straight month as jobs, inflation fears rise on Trump tariff policy. So the trade policy is honestly just getting worse by the day, but honestly, we are getting some better news. We did get some news saying that there is a deal that's out, but it's just waiting on the country's like approval, basically. So we might get some positive news with a trade deal, the first trade deal. So maybe after the first trade deal, we'll start getting some more. Pfizer, we should not have tariffs on pharma. So basically just saying that it is going to affect pharmaceuticals, and honestly, the consumer too. Understand that. Job openings fall more than expected in March, hover over a 4-year low, which was insane. Coca-Cola, we are holding prices for now. So, I mean, we kind of got this before, but Coca-Cola is holding their prices despite the trade war. White House blasts Amazon for hostile and political tariff move. So basically, let's talk a little bit more about this before we get into any other news. So basically, Amazon planned to show its tariff prices on its other e-commerce store. So they have an e-commerce store that's kind of like Temu. It's a little bit like it's basically cheaper goods, and I think it's really just to basically go up against Temu. But some background, as everybody knows, there's a 145% tariff on China and a minimum of 10% on other countries. This can affect companies and people that are waiting to see what the true tariff cost would be. So honestly, I think companies actually displaying what the actual tariff cost would be can bring down everything basically, especially stocks. But with that being said, companies like Amazon, Walmart, Target, and other companies already made it known that tariffs are going to raise prices for the consumer. Some Amazon merchants had already began to rise their prices and scaling back on their operations. Initially stated by Punch Bowl News, stated that Amazon was going to display the prices alongside the normal prices to kind of get the blame away from Amazon and kind of blame it more on the tariffs of why the prices are going up, which is kind of reasonable. But in reaction, the White House was aggressive by saying it was a hostile and political act, also saying that why did they not show the price hikes during Biden's inflation run? So the inflation run during Biden, they didn't really show the prices and didn't blame it on Biden. There was also a call with Trump, and he was kind of pissed off and basically saying that he was passing tariff costs on the consumers and viewed it as him undermining the trade policies, which honestly I don't really understand too well because I mean it's going to bring up the prices, and why can't they blame the trade? You know, but they quickly denied, and they plan to they quickly denied it on their main site, but basically said that it was planned for their other site, but it was originally planned for its low cost Hawk unit, kind of a site that's used to basically compete with Timu. But that's basically honestly it. We also have some other news that I didn't really open up in a tab, but Arizona took on Bitcoin adoption. So keep that in mind for Bitcoin to the upside. I think we're currently trading at 93,000. So it is kind of going down a little bit, but more states and some countries are kind of getting Bitcoin and using it as a payment method, which is kind of sick and will bring Bitcoin up. Going into May, so understand that May, we have 9 out of 10 years we were green during May. So keep that in mind. So we might go back into a bullish trend, but understand that history can always change. We could be 9 out of 11. Sorry. But stock deck had a $1.7 million play for May 16th, and it was a call option. So we're gonna be looking at Beck a little bit later. But all right, so let's get to some price targets for the SPY. Honestly, man, this call is printing right now. I think I'm up like 300% right now, which is insane. Might sell soon. But with that being said, let's get to some price targets. So first off, of course, like we said yesterday, that 550 is going to be an important level. We can break above that, maintain above that, have some good value and some good momentum. We can break above it and maybe even get watch 551.5, 552.5, 553.2, and then all the way up to the highs of 553.8. And then past that, look at 555, 556, 557.5, and that 560 level. I don't think we'll get it today, but honestly, with the way stocks are moving, one good catalyst can bring us up there. To the downside, 548.5, 547.5, 545.8, 544.5, and then 544. With that being said, do see how it reacts to that 550. We might get another bounce up to it, test it, and then bounce off, and then have a bigger sell off, and maybe get down to VWAP and or lower to that 545. So keep that in mind. But let's get to some other stocks. So next is Apple. Everybody's favorite. It has to be. No, not really, but we do got earnings coming up, so expect some volatility. So some levels to look at for Apple. Look at that 540, or sorry, I don't know why I said 540. Look at that 212, 212.8, 214.5, and that 215 level, and then 220 after that. To the downside, look at 210. 210 is going to be another key level. Below that 210, look at 208.9, 208, 207.5, and that 205 level, and 206.7. Keep that in between because maybe we might bounce off of the lows once again. Always play highs and lows, honestly, man. Please. Next, we're gonna be talking about is NVIDIA. And to the upside, look at 107.5, 108, and then that 109, and then that 110 is gonna be key. To the downside, look at 106.4, 105.5, and then that 105 level, 102, and then 100. A lot of people are saying they're going to be bearish, especially with that news. I mean, they do got big competition, but honestly, we are kind of bearish pre-market, but honestly, it hasn't really been looking as bearish as people may say it is. So don't be on one side or the other. So depending on how you really want to play the stock market right now, calls or puts. If you want to play a put, I recommend looking Nvidia at some higher levels and play a put on Nvidia. If you want to play some calls, look at our next stock that we're going to be talking about, and that's Palantir. Just because of the movements that's going, Nvidia is more bearish, and then Palantir is more bullish. But Palantir has been moving kind of crazy recently. We have been bouncing around that 110 or we could say 109, but 110 all the way up to like that 117 level. We kind of just been bouncing around that for the past couple of days. But if you can make a breakout, you can make a decent amount of money. With that being said, you can look at it at a call option at its lows, especially today when it opened up. You could have been a little bit more patient, waited until it sold off a little bit, and played your little call option, made a decent amount of money. And or if you want to just hold a long term, honestly do recommend waiting for it to get to those low 110s, maybe 109. But to the upside, look at that 116.5, 117, 118, and then that 120 level. And then above that, 125 to that 126 level of the highs. To the downside, look at that 114.5. 113.2 has been a decent level, or 113.5, 113, 112, and then 110 now. And then past that 110, look at the lows first, 109.91. If we don't make a bounce off of that and we bounce down lower, look at that 108. Thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. I'm going to be coming out with some shorts to tell you guys some supports and resistance to watch and some more plays. But I hope this video helped you guys out. And tomorrow we might make a longer video going through the stock market, some more levels and just everything that's going on. But thanks for watching. I got a lot of projects coming up. Make sure those post notifications are on. And thank you guys for watching. Peace out.